Hi. So now we're going to look at about adding payment information, payment values. We have set up our debtors details in the software, but we haven't said how much money we want to collect. So we look at doing that now as a manual process, and again there are options available for being able to import values, which we'll go through in a later session. So if I double click on the debtors record, we see a couple of things here under the payments tab. So this is where all the information that concerning the payment and payment amounts and so on is held. If I want to make a payment for this period only, I enter the amount here under the this payment section. I have the option to set up a default payment amount. So if I were operating perhaps a creche or some sort of subscription based business or whatever, where I'm collecting a standard amount each period, I can set up that standard amount here. Say €40 a month, €50 a month, whatever. And each time then when the records are processed, DEFT will apply that amount as the collection amount. In the event that I set up a default amount, say €50, but for some reason I have to collect some extra monies, or I'm not going to collect monies in a particular period, then I can overwrite the figure manually by putting in €100, for instance, under this period, and then the next period it will revert back to the €50 amount or whatever it is I've set up as the default figure. When collecting monies, DEFT will maintain balance details, and I have two options. The standard option is an ascending balance signified by the upwards arrow. So every time I collect money from this debtor, I will increment their ascending balance. So after 3 months of collecting €50 a month, the ascending balance would be €150. I can also use a reducing balance. I have to select this tick box, the arrow will point downwards, and I have to enter the reducing balance amount. So this might be used in a case where I've provided somebody with a loan, or they had an insurance premium to pay or something like that. So I would enter that I have to be paid €800, and I'm going to collect €95 a month. So it'll collect €95 a month for the first 8 months, and then the balance €40 odd that's outstanding in the 9th month. And once the full €800 has been collected, no further direct debit transactions will go through against this debtor. So that's a very useful feature for organizations that might have such a need. I can set start and finish dates. So again, the system will check if I set somebody's details up to date, but I'm not going to make a first collection against them for 4 months or 5 months for some reason, I can put the start date out into the future 4 or 5 months, and no collections will be made until that time. And similarly, if I enter finish date, then once that date has been reached, no further collections will be made against that person. So reducing balance might be used against somebody who owns a specific amount of money, and the software will collect by direct debit until that amount has been repaid. Or if there's something to be paid over a particular term, not specifying the amount, then you would specify the finish date here and say, okay, I'm going to keep collecting money until that date has been reached. Another option is to allow for multiple items to be entered. So again, if we take the example perhaps of a creche, I might be charging for child 1 in the amount of €100. I might have food in the amount of €50. I can enter multiple amounts with different details and so on, and then when the payment comes to go through, you see that it's an amount of €150 in total, the sum of all the details. But these details can appear then on remittance advice or go through to the history for your records. So that's a useful feature again. So I'm going to just turn them off for the moment and just say, okay, let's set this one up. I want to collect €100. That's the amount I want to collect against this person. I'm going to do it in the next collection. The following collection may be in a different amount. It will ask me if I want to process this, and I say yes, done. The transaction is now ready, it's processed, it's in the amount of 100, the balance will be €100. So this is an increasing balance. And that's how we set up amounts manually against our debtors. In a future session we'll look at how we might do that by importing the details with a file from our account system or whatever. Thanks for listening. Take care.